Welcome to Being Catholic Media. Yes, it's Carol Kelso here, and I am in Medjugorje. Yes, I'm here on pilgrimage. And you know, Kathy is based out here. So I felt it was only right that we come up to her home and talk about the divine will more since that I'm here. And I guess really to share about Our Lady's messages and what she's trying to teach us, because we are in the month of May. So Kathy, wonderful to be here with you.
Yeah,
it's nice not to be speaking to you.
You're actually here.
I'm here. It's nice to be actually here with Kathy in her home. She's full of the divine will. She has lots to share with us. And again, these messages, Kathy, are so important, right? Because Our Lady wants to teach us about the divine will and what it can bring to our lives, right?
Which is peace.
Which is peace, because everybody wants peace. And the one thing, you know, Kathy, the priest was saying, he said that peace is a process. We don't just arrive there, we have to practice it. And Our Lady gives us the tools to be able to do that, Kathy, right?
Yeah, and peace comes from order, Carol.
Yes.
So we have to get ourselves into order, and that's a process of working on that order. But God works on that order in us. You know?
And you know, everybody wants that in life. Everybody wants peace. And we come to Medjugorje, we go on pilgrimage to try and, I guess, get that peace in our lives. So Kathy, what do you think? I know each day she gives us a message, and she really wants, again, the month of May. What date are we today? We're the
10th day.
The 10th day.
Which is the day of peace, where we're told that Our Lady's job is to bring peace between God and mankind.
Yes.
And that Our Lady is our model, and then we're to fall in with Our Lady, that we can be a bond of peace between God and mankind.
Yes.
You know, that we're all working together for peace on the world.
So what are in terms of, okay, we're on day 10. So you're going to take us through day 1?
Yeah, because it's explained like day 1 to 7 is almost like creation, as you say, a process of how God brings us to this peace.
Yeah.
So day 1 is that Our Lady actually gave this knowledge to Louisa, and that we're meant to read these lessons, okay? Jesus said, I never do anything that you don't need.
Yeah.
So we need this. And Our Lady sat on Louisa's bed and gave her the lessons each day.
She sat on her bed. Imagine that, having the Mother of God sit on your bed and share these lessons with you. Now, Kathy, these lessons come from the kingdom of the divine will book themselves, so isn't it?
Yeah, the Virgin Mary and the kingdom of the divine will. So Our Lady lived and possessed divine will.
Yes.
And she wants to teach us how to do this.
Yes.
Because the gift has come back into the world through Louisa. Okay, it wasn't possible until Louisa. And then the divine will was centered in Louisa, who was born of original sin. So Our Lady, you know, got the grace, the Immaculate Conception. So she was living in divine will from the beginning, but Louisa wasn't. You know, she had to enter in by listening to Our Lady. So day 1 is the desire to live this way.
Desire, remember that, friends. It's so important. It's the same with the divine mercy. It is the desire in our hearts in order to achieve this, right?
Yeah, so the desire to fuse our own human will with the will of God. And the will of God is all perfection, all beauty. So we have to unite with God, who is all perfect, so that we can live this way.
And look at that, folks. There's the bells of Medjugorje, so beautiful. So I think one of the things in order to, again, get to that peace, Kathy, is that uniting with God. And every day, just to remind people who haven't been watching the videos that myself and Kathy have been done around the divine will, we need to say a prayer every day, don't we?
The Prevenient Act. So
the Prevenient Act.
We need to have a strong will to do this, Carol. We need to have a strong will to want to live this way. And Saint Faustina confirms, remember the big X in the diary?
Yes.
My own human will is gone. So, you know, it must be fused with the divine will.
Yes.
And that is the focus, and that is the center of our life, because we're told if we do this, we'll get everything right. Everything will fall into place, you know? So it's a simple way to live if we just focus on this, because it is the center of all our problems, is our will.
Yes.
And the will must be focused on God, you know.
We must desire what God desires.
God's will.
We must desire to do what God's will, not ours. So Kathy, take us through the lessons there.
Okay, so when we desire to live this way, the Holy Trinity can get somewhere with us, because now we're listening, we have a desire to do this. So the Holy Trinity wants to lead us, teach us, purify us, wants to come and live in our heart and change our heart to be a pure heart, a peaceful heart, you know, a loving heart.
Yeah.
But if we don't have a strong desire to listen to God in this way, we're not going to get there. You know, we need perseverance, we need constancy, we need prayer each day, we need cooperation with God, we need to get to know God. So the second step is that the Holy Trinity wants to come and teach us, purify us, bring us to holiness.
Yeah.
That's
one of the key things, you know, I was talking about, Kathy, and indeed is that cooperation, because sometimes we have busy lives, right? And before we know it, we're forgetting to say the prayers. And you mentioned yesterday how important it is to speak those prayers because they enact those things.
Yeah, so God respects our free will. So that prayer means us giving permission to God to do his work.
Very important.
So if we don't pray, you know, that is our invitation to God to say that we actually want to come to holiness in this way.
Yeah.
He's not going to force it on us.
No.
Nobody has to do this.
Yeah.
This is, you know, we have free will. We need to desire to live this way because this is for our good, and this will be perfection and holiness and everything that's good.
So I think what I am learning about the divine will in my own life is that you have to actively seek it every day. It's not something, because that grace can, as it can come into your life, it can equally leave if you don't desire it each day, because it is an act. It's an act, friends. It just doesn't land within your soul. You have to participate. And I think, Kathy, that was the one thing I learned. Kathy does Divine Will meetings, saying that was the one thing that I learned at your meeting this week, was that we have to actually enact every day and act out it and say that prayer and make the effort.
And we should be serious about our faith, isn't it? It's our eternal life, you know.
Absolutely.
But
100%.
people don't get that, you know.
No,
they don't understand that eternal life is so important.
Yes.
And that it's all our acts in this life that determine our eternal life. So this life is so short. Shouldn't we be concentrating on what we're going to bring to heaven with us?
100%.
Which are these divine little acts that we do every day.
Yes. Yeah. And coming here and being on pilgrimage, I think, has really reaffirmed that, friends, that it is our will with God that we can achieve this, and we cannot do it on our own.
Exactly. It's all about God. God reigns. God is in charge. We can go against God.
Yes.
But God reigns in this world. He wants us to cooperate for our own good. He loves us. You know, he wants a lovely life for us. But that's our choice. Now, Carol, day 3 is that when Adam sinned, he lost control over himself. He lost like self-control.
Yes.
And then creation went against him. Okay, so that's all part of the same thing. Is when we're out of order, creation doesn't recognize us anymore because we're not behaving in the way that, you know, God wants us to behave. So creation turns against us, doesn't recognize us, you know. But when we allow the Holy Trinity to come dwell in us, creation recognizes that, and then we become one with creation. Like, we'll be blessed. If you're a farmer, you'll be blessed with your fields and what's growing in the field. You know, so a blessing comes through that, because now the world is recognizing you because it's recognizing God. That's step 3, that Our Lady is queen of all creation. You know, everybody recognizes her. Everybody in heaven and everybody on earth recognizes Our Lady because she's one with God. That's day 3.
Incredible.
Day 4 is the test.
Yeah.
So let's say we're one with God when everything's going well, just like the story of Job in the Bible. But now that has to be tested. When things are not going well, are we still going to be faithful to God? So we're told in Divine Will, everybody has to go through this test, which is the cross, you know, to see, will we stay faithful to God if we lose all the benefits, all the blessings? Because the blessings are coming from God. So it's God that's important, you know. So the test is to test our faithfulness to God. And we have to go through this step before we are raised up again, you know.
One of the, in Holy Mass, one of the priest said something about our loyalty to God. And I think sometimes people they don't understand the love of God. And a priest actually who's staying where we're staying says, if people understand, it's more about loyalty. People understand what loyalty means. And if we're loyal in the divine will, it can transform our lives. This divine will has the power to change us.
Yeah, because we're loyal to everything that's good.
That's it.
So God is everything that's good. So going against him is going against what's good.
Yeah.
You know? So it's, you know, it's faithfulness to all that is good.
It's faithfulness and loyalty to the Lord. 100%. Now, friends, we will tag on to this. We have done the lessons ourselves. We've brought them to life through visual images. We have already uploaded about 7 of them, but we will tag, again, the lessons on to demonstrate the beauty of them. Again, when you read these, Kathy, in these lessons, the one thing you always find is the language used is heavenly.
Yeah, and also, Carol, who was the person most faithful to God? It was Our Lady.
Our Lady.
So that's what we're talking about, is that kind of faithfulness, that Jesus couldn't come down to earth if Our Lady didn't have that love and faithfulness for God. So, you know, peace can't come until we have constancy in good, you know, that it's every day, it's not just some days. You know, we have to be cemented like in good for peace to come on earth, like to be true peace, like every day. And Our Lady wants that. She tells us in Medjugorje, she wants a time of peace. What she started in Fatima was that in the litany of Our Lady, they added, Our Lady, Queen of Peace, pray for us. That was around 1917 that was put in the litany. So Our Lady wants that fulfilled, that she's the Queen of heaven and earth, and that on earth there's peace in the same way as there is in heaven.
So we basically need to help Our Lady achieve what she wants to achieve.
Yeah.
So what next step are we on then?
So then we triumph in the test. So if we can get over that stage, God decides how long that's going to last. And when he sees your faithfulness, then he says to Satan, like, okay, now back off. This person has shown in bad times that they still love me. They still go to mass. They're still that loving person that they always were. And then God decides, now we're going to raise that person up to double blessing, you know?
Yes,
double blessing.
When I was creating the lessons for this, one of I was astounded by the text where she tells us, like you said, I had to be tested. Even she had to be tested. Who on earth thinks that the Queen of Heaven has to be tested? So she's tested, we're going to be tested. So we need to be...
so we all get free will. That's the thing. Even Our Lady saying she had that free will. She could have decided against God. So every day, every moment, she had to make a decision for God, which is a decision for sacrifice and everything that's difficult, you know. So it's a decision for the cross. It's a decision to serve rather than, you know, serving yourself.
Yes.
So it's this giving that is God. God gives and doesn't, you know, unconditionally.
Yeah.
So that's what we're called to. So especially in divine will, it's a call to a giving that doesn't expect anything. Because at the meeting we said last week that most people don't get there because they always expect something back.
Yes.
And that's where it goes wrong.
No, you have to do out your love for God.
Yeah, so sacrifice is when you give and you get nothing back.
Yes.
So Jesus gave everything, you know, for us on the cross.
Yeah.
So true love is, the best love is when you give and you get nothing back. But of course, God always wants to give back. So, I mean, it's giving and receiving. But I'm saying that, you know, the true love is when you don't expect anything back.
Yeah, and I will say this, friends, you know, this is a way of life. It's not just a devotion or something else, a supplication to add into your... This is the greatest gift of our time. And we all need to embrace as Catholics, don't we, Kathy? Because we're living in a very challenging time. I think we all know that. And indeed, Medjugorje, being here and having conversations with pilgrims, we know that the times are changing. And we are going to have to really get serious about our faith. I mean, the reason why I'm here is obviously to try and refresh myself, but also to chat to Kathy, come and talk more about this, because it really is truly, friends, we want to encourage you to really consider getting involved with this, because it really will change your life. And again, it is about a way of life.
And Our Lady is our model.
As our model
and our guide. This is the month of May, and the importance of Our Lady. So she was given the job of uniting the world with God, you know. And they were the first words she said in Medjugorje. People must make peace with God, and then they'll be able to make peace with one another. But it has to be true God. There is no other way. That's what we're told. Even the readings or the gospel is like, it has to be, there's no other way, only true God. You know, so without God, you can do nothing.
No.
It has to be true God, true confession, through the mass, through the sacraments of the church, faithfulness to the church. That is the only way. There is no other way.
Yeah, and today's gospel was also about that. I am the vine and you are the branches. Without me, you can do nothing. Again, the divine will. Without my will in your life, you can do nothing. So it's the divine will is nothing new. It's just we're realizing it now, right?
Yeah, so when we do Our Lady's lessons, then we can put that in line with Our Lady's messages in Medjugorje.
Yes.
And then we see the whole truth of our faith,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
But this is one part that's very important of we can't expect something from God if we're not the person, you know, we're called to live in a certain way, to live the commandments. And if we don't live that way, we can't expect the fruits of our faith.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's by us living in obedience to God and living in the way we're meant to live that we get the fruit of our faith. 100%. If we live outside of the church, we can't expect the same. You know what I mean? We must have the sacramental life of the church.
Yeah, and I think what the great thing in my humble opinion, is that the divine will is bringing us back to basics, Kathy, isn't it? The basics, going back to the beginning of creation, repairing for all of that.
So this is the thing, when we have the gift of living in divine will, we are taking part in the reparation of sin with Our Lady and calling God's mercy on the world. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. When you live in disobedience to God, you're getting God's justice.
Yeah.
And you want to go higher than that. You want to receive his mercy. Mm-hmm. So when you live in this obedience, you actually move into divine mercy.
Yes.
And get away from the justice. So we're told, and whichever day 7 or 8, that all souls are placed in Our Lady's heart. And that she can feel how God is getting offended by the souls, and she can feel how the souls fall under divine justice, you know, how they're receiving justice. And that hurts her as a mother, because she'd prefer to lift us all up into divine mercy.
Gosh.
That we stop offending God and that we repair the sin.
How blessed we are to have our Blessed Mother. It's great.
She's our intercessor, you know.
She is amazing. And friends, I just want to share with you, I did a promotion for the Divine Will Conference that was happening in Derry on the 7th of May. And it was an absolute success from start to finish. And I think, Kathy, that God is going to, he's starting in, or not starting in Ireland, but he's going to claim Ireland through the divine will. Do you think?
It's a terrific sign, Carol, because it means that Ireland is open to the will of God now. And it's the month of May, it was Our Lady's month. And I know that if these teachings come into Ireland, Ireland will change.
Yes.
You know? And very quickly, if people open to the will of God, surrender to that will, and simply just cooperate with God, you know.
And it was the Benedictine daughters of the Divine Will that I interviewed. They were there, all 8 of them were there. So this was a great success. Francis Hogan was there. So how blessed we are, Ireland. We never know what's going to happen in the future now. It's very exciting.
Big blessing for Ireland.
Big blessing for Ireland. Mm-hmm. So have you gone through those lessons, Kathy? Is there anything else you would like to share? Or
that's the main thing is, you know, we have to go through the test to possess divine will. Then we're cooperating with God in a full way, and he can create through us. He can change, he can renew. And the divine will is all about resurrection. That's the other thing, is that Louise is the little newborn.
New life.
Yeah, and Father Leon here in Medjugorje told us, anytime you see newborn, think resurrection. So this is the resurrected life of joy, peace, love that Our Lady is mentioning in her messages all the time. This is the life she wants for us. But this is the life of obedience to God. It only comes through the living of her messages, the living of the life of the church. There is no other way.
No.
Going
back to basics.
Our Lady's messages in Medjugorje, she's telling us it has to be that way. You know, so read her messages. She's disappointed that people are not responding in the way they should.
Yeah.
You know, we should see more and more people coming back to the church. We should, you know, the mass, we should see more and more people going to confession. Our Lady's calling them to confession. She said, if you don't go, I can't help you, she said. So we know what we have to do. It's the doing of it.
You know, Kathy.
So it's that strong will to do what Our Lady has asked us to do in Medjugorje, and what Louisa is teaching us here through her teachings.
Just maybe for those who haven't really been watching our videos, share a little bit, just because I just tell you, Kathy is alive with the divine will. She's on fire with it. And before you've been living here for Medjugorje for how many years now?
30 years.
30 years now. And you know the drill out here. But when you heard about the divine will, it ignited something in you, didn't it?
Yeah, because as we're told, this is the center point, you know, so it's like having all parts of a jigsaw, but you're missing the middle piece. So it's like it all comes together now in divine will, but you know, the veil is important because so many people have come to Medjugorje. They know of the messages, they experience peace in Medjugorje. They probably know that Our Lady exists and Jesus exists, but they're not living the messages, you know, they're not coming to Mass, you know, they're not keeping the commandments. So it's that missing part of, they don't have a strong enough will. Oh, so we're told in divine will, our human will is not strong enough. And especially now when everything is against us. So when we unite that human will with the divine will, we're told in the lessons, it's our strength, you know, it's our hope. So it's the divine will that gives us the strength to be able to do this.
We can't do it on our own, friends.
No, it's Jesus doing it in us. And that's the teaching is, if Jesus is doing it, he has the strength to do it. But us and our human will in this difficult time, we're too weak. And it says that, you know, we're going to be inconstant. But if we live in this way of fusing our will, God is going to take us seriously, and we're going to have that strong strength that we need. This is going to be our focus. This is going to be first place, and then all the rest will fall into place.
So again, it's every day when we wake up, it's saying that act, it's entering into that will,
desiring to do
it every day. And you know, even though sometimes you mightn't feel like it, or you might feel, oh God, I need to say, you know, and that is the one thing I think we need to be mindful of is God needs our participation.
And don't we see our weakness? Like I know that I wouldn't have any strength, like if I wasn't living this way.
No.
So I think we all know our weakness, and this is focus, this is strength. We're told the consecration prayers will have a singular strength, you know, a singular strength, because we have a singular focus, and we're going to get there. So my advice would be, live a very simple life. Just have what you need, because everything has been taken away now anyway, but like really get back in order and have a simple life. Simplify your life, you know, down to the basics, and that you're going to have a strength in that.
Okay, thank you. Anything else you would like to add?
And God in the first place every day. If you can get Mass every day, that is your strength.
Yeah, there you go. Eucharist every day, friends. And Lucas, thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you, Sarah.
Lovely to be here. It's great to be here. It's great to finally be here with Kathy.
And there's great graces in Medjugorje. So anybody watching, come to Medjugorje.
Come to Medjugorje.
Receive the graces. Our Lady is here. Come and be with your Heavenly Mother.
That's it. Okay, look, friends. I'm sure we'll be talking to Kathy very, very soon. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.